We're speaking about the diaphragm and how to move the ribs, right? Before your training and warm up, your breathing is really important. I will build the videos in a way that, as you see, I want to teach you something. I'm not just going to give you exercises and have a cool Instagram or TikTok. It's very important for the work that I do with you that you have a slow build up of expensing quality, understanding of sensing what you understood, and understanding what you're sensing. I hope you got what I said. Otherwise, just replay it. So it's not going to be super fast and sexy because that's not how it works. If we're lucky, we're going to be alive for 50 more years, and there are certain things where it is good to take time. Because you are working on this right now alone without my support, we can always organize one-to-one calls. You just message me and I'm there for you. But since you're doing this alone, please build a new relationship to your rib cage. The placement of your rib cage is crucial. You know that as a sports person. You can lose your whole balance if you're positioning the rib cage in the right or the wrong position. You are going to be able to turn lots of pirouettes in the right placement. You're going to create nice and new shapes if you place it differently. Handstand, same thing. Fighting as well. Of course, you can't have an arch. You need to know how to position your rib cage. Your rib cage is very important because the spine is holding the rib cage with its 12 vertebrae. The shoulder blades are on top of the rib cage and the collarbones. All these connections to your arms, to what you pull, to what you push. Your strength doesn't only depend on your muscles and your strength training, it depends also on the placement of your bones. So touching your ribs, it's not the somatic spiritual spirit. I like that too, in certain settings and only with certain directions. But this is not what we're going to do here. We are going to learn who our body can and will become, what our body feels like, and how it's going to change. I have been eating a lot of wheat and sugar lately for experiment reasons. If I eat a lot of wheat and sugar, my breathing becomes very shallow. I've developed a crazy eating disorder because of the experiments I've been doing. Everything you put into your body, also thought-wise, is going to affect your breathing. We were talking about the left and the right side in the previous video. I'm going to do an exercise in a second, but I need to speak a bit because you need to understand more. The more you understand, the more you're going to do. If I just give you exercises, I don't know how long you're going to move through them. And as I said, I want this to be a long-term relationship, as in you learning long-term. I do lots of experiments because I don't trust science only. I mean, yes, interesting, but I don't know exactly what they were doing it for, with whom. So I need to test things out. Also, the things that are being said not to do, like mouth breathing. Not good what happens when you do that. Okay, so my question was, how does eating wheat and sugar influence the diaphragm? Great question, Sarah. Wheat and sugar don't affect the diaphragm directly, but they can have an indirect effect through inflammation, digestion, and posture. First, bloating and gas. Wheat, specifically gluten and sugar, can cause bloating or gas in sensitive people. A swollen abdomen pushes upward against the diaphragm, limiting its range and making breathing feel shallow or tight. Yes. Second, inflammation. Yes. High sugar and processed wheat can promote low-grade inflammation in the gut, which may subtly affect the nervous system, including the phrenic nerve that controls the diaphragm. The phrenic nerves also runs from your cervical spine and also, if I'm not mistaken, in your jaw. So whenever you're tensed here, that's also going to affect your breathing. So if you're super tense and angry, like me the past 2 days, that's not good for my breathing. Obviously, I can sense that. And if I eat shit then, on top, not good at all. blood sugar spikes can lead to energy crashes, and shallow breathing in the chest is going to happen instead of deep grounded diaphragmatic breathing. Belly breathing doesn't exist because we have no belly in the we have no lungs in the belly. Postural effects. Cravings, fatigue, and gut discomfort can lead to slouched posture, which compresses the diaphragm and reduces breathing efficiency. So everything affects the breathing and the diaphragm. What is important is that you continue to sense into the left and the right side. Why? We're speaking about the left side being shorter or the right side of the diaphragm being smaller or bigger. And it's interesting because if I sense into my body, I have the feeling that the left side doesn't go down, it stays up. But now the interesting thing is that you have the liver on the right side of your rib cage. Underneath the left rib cage, you have the stomach. Underneath the right rib cage, you have the liver. And now maybe even have a scoliosis a bit. I don't know you so well. But again, I asked ChatGPT for the answers. The heart is placed on the left side of the body, and because of that, the diaphragm is going to be a bit smaller on the left side. But I asked ChatGPT, and what it said was the heart rests slightly to the left, above the central tendon of the diaphragm. Because of this, the left dome of the diaphragm may have a bit more space to move down, but it also has to work around the heart's presence, which can slightly affect the dynamics. The pericardium, the membrane around the heart, is actually attached to the diaphragm. So when you breathe deeply, your diaphragm movement influences heart rhythm and position. This is one reason why slow, deep breathing can help regulate your heartbeat and calm the nervous system. So now, before I say and explain what I said before in relation to this, the left lung might expand a bit more deeply, especially during full inhalation. Right side, being more compressed, may need more conscious activation. The right side of the diaphragm sits higher thanks to the liver. It has slightly less range of motion compared to the left. This can influence how air distributes in the lungs. In movement, especially dance or athletic performance, an imbalanced diaphragm can subtly shift posture or core engagement. That's why diaphragmatic breathing techniques often emphasize balancing both sides, because it helps with alignment and core stability. Now, what it says then is that the right side has to work around the liver and the left side has to work around the heart. And there's a connection of the diaphragm and the heart, and the diaphragm has to move around the liver through your breathing. We will have to skip to the next video because I'm not going to make them longer than 10 minutes. Promise, next video, exercise. So what is important is, even though I was sensing that my left side is tighter and can't move that down, my right side is actually higher, what I perceive from my left side. And this is where what we read might be true. I have not looked into my body, and this is why I question it, because I've also learned and read information where it was saying that the left side of the diaphragm is a bit shorter and a bit more closed. That's why sensing and reading, both of it, is important and makes sense.